Hello everybody, this is Alex, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at two of the halt plays that I took on November 12th in my simulator account, which was day number 25. So as I mentioned in the recap from day number 25, this first one on APDN was definitely a revenge play. You can see on my 1 minute chart here that I had just recently exited a previous trade. I had got in on a big volume spike and then got spooked by this drop and ended up exiting a little bit early. So I was annoyed at the fact that I had exited early, and so I ended up buying right as this one started to halt on this halt. And you can see that my position here was 125 shares at 824. And what's really important for context on this trade, even though I don't plan on getting too deep into strategy on these videos, what is important is that I realized during the halt that this was not a good trade and that I probably should be getting out pretty quickly and that my tolerance for a drop back down should be very low. So as you can see up here in the orders window, I do have a stop order up, a live stop order. And this was basically insurance against just in case I missed my intended stop, which was $8. $8 was the level I did not want to see break. And I was a little bit worried due to the thin spreads that this thing would end up, flashing down. And so I set a hard stop, a live stop, just below the previous resistance level, which is mapped out here on the 1 minute chart. So as you can see on the right hand side, I have the Velocity chat room open, and I was just updating the rest of the chat room as to what's going on. And this is a big part of the reason why I'm making this video, is because there's a lot of confusion about halts, especially about how the price moves during the halt. A lot of people think that the level 2 information in this area is valid, and it is not. It is never valid. If it is valid, it's only by coincidence. And so what I was doing is trying to give people updates as to what's going on during the halt. So without any further delay, I will play the video, and what you're going to see is that the spreads open up right upon resumption. And that's something that further compounded my nervousness on this trade, because in order to stay in this trade, I wanted to see a very quick squeeze up towards the next halt level. And as I hit play, you'll see that that does not happen. And very shortly here, we will open up right there. Now we're sitting at 834 by 889. And even though I did see, we're approaching the next level, the next halt level at 922, I recognized this very quickly as a spread situation and a support situation, which was unlikely to reach the target halt level. And so this is about the time when I started thinking to get out of this. And at this point, I've decided, let's just give it a second, see what happens. Maybe a bid will pop up. And you can see I'm watching, trying to find if there's any support coming up, if there's going to be any change in this situation. As we drop back down here to 801 by 809, I was pleased by what I saw on the bid side right here, in that it was a lot thicker than the ask, and I did expect to see a bounce off $8. But like I mentioned earlier, I wasn't willing to hold. At this point in the trade, I absolutely wasn't looking for my my backup stop to get triggered. What I was going to do if we broke $8 was cancel that order and then sell on the bid all in one motion. So my cancel order hotkey is Control X, and my sell on the bid is Control Z. So I just roll my fingers over X and Z at the same time with Control depressed, and that's what I was getting ready to do at this point. And very shortly, you'll see me cancel this order up here and then get ready to do that. Now, we bounced off $8 pretty well, which I did like, but once again, the spreads keep opening up, and I wasn't really feeling the situation at this point. And so once we started moving back up into the higher levels, I saw this bit at 859, and not a whole lot to push through it on the bid side. And I noticed as well that we were forming a doji on the 1 minute. I was looking at the tape and seeing a pretty wide range of orders that I did not like. And if I let it play here for a second, you'll see once, we keep flushing back down on the bid side, and this is really not the action that I was looking for. And yeah, right there. Okay, so I don't know if you caught that here. I'll back it up a second. Something happened pretty quickly there. So this up here in my orders window, this is my stop order, and you'll see that one disappear, and then one to sell that comes up at, I believe, 65 or somewhere around there, 865. As I see this squeeze into strength, yeah, I put up an order to sell at 864. And what that was me hitting Control F4, which is to sell my entire position at my entry plus 40 cents. Because the action that I saw in the tape, I thought would have a substantial push into maybe 870 level, but I wasn't super convinced based on what I'd seen so far that the bid price would follow it. And so I decided to put an order out there in advance to make sure that if it did spike up really quickly, I wouldn't have to depend on reaction times in order to get filled. And just a few moments after I did that, we squeeze up right here, and this is the moment where I'm about to get filled for this order. You can see that my price, my asking price of 864 has been matched by the bid side at this point. And so as I hit resume, I paused this pretty perfectly. As soon as I hit play, it's going to execute, and that'll be the end of that. So this trade wasn't exactly my most exciting halt resumption play ever. However, I do think it's pretty noteworthy because this is one of the most poorly executed plays that I've taken in recent memory, at least, certainly in this account, in terms of halt related plays. And as you'll hear me say in my recap from this day, this was the one that made me decide to take a long break. I didn't necessarily close the day, but the entire rest of my day, like all four trades that I had taken, including this one, were ones that I was not happy with. I felt that I traded very poorly on this day leading up to this point. And so having just narrowly escaped a pretty bad result on, a really dodgy entry on this trade on APDN, I thought, okay, let's just take a step back here, dude. You're not trading well today, and we don't want to have a snowball day and have this reverse into the negative.